Welcome to Spectrum TV News within the week, a recap of major stories. My name is Uyai Anyeka and coming to you live from Uyo, the capital city of Akwa Ibom State, Nigeria. Let's take a look at some of the major stories. President Bola Tinubu says no option off the table, including force. Governor Moino bans indiscriminate excavation on Akwa Ibom soil. Plus, fresh evacuations underway in Mao as death toll climbs to 67 over Hawaii fires. We'll bring you details of these stories and more in a moment. First in the news within the week is an update from the coup in Niger, where President Bola Tinubu said no option is off the table, including the use of force as the last resort in resolving the Niger Republic crisis. The chairman of the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, made the comment in his closing remarks at the Bloc Summit in Abuja. The Nigerian leader, while admitting that there will be challenges ahead, said that they will collectively resolve the ECOWAS and navigate all obstacles for lasting peace and prosperity in Niger and other member countries. He commended leaders for their unwavering commitment to the sub-region and welfare of the African continent.
Look to engage the party involved, including the coup leaders, in honest discussion to convince them to relinquish power as suggested and reinstate President Bazoum. It is our duty to exhaust all avenues of engagement to ensure a swift return to constitutional governance in Niger. More specifically, as leaders of our respective nations, we must recognize that the political crisis in Niger not only poses a threat to the stability of the nations, but also has far-reaching implications for the entire West African region. By remaining steadfast in our adherence to the principle of democracy, good governance, and the rule of law, we can restore peace, stability, and prosperity in the Republic of Niger, thereby fostering an environment conducive for growth and development for all.
Away from that, the Vice President Kashim Shettima during the week said that with the removal of fuel subsidy, Nigeria is projected to save over 15 million tons of carbon dioxide emissions in 1 year. Shettima said this at the one-day workshop organized by the National Council on Climate Change with the theme unpacking the outcomes of the 58 sessions of the subsidiary bodies of the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change. Shettima, who was represented by his Deputy Chief of Staff, Ibrahim Hassan, noted that Nigeria was on course to achieve the nationally determined contribution target. In a separate development, the Presidential Committee on Tax Policy and Fiscal Reforms in the course of the week said The Nigeria Customs Service and 62 other ministries, departments and agencies, MDAs, of the federal government should not collect revenue directly. The chairman of the committee, Taiwo Yodele, in a live broadcast said the Federal Inland Revenue Service, FIRS, is best suited to collect revenue for the MDAs. Ayodele, a former fiscal policy partner and Africa tax leader at PricewaterhouseCoopers, PwC, said Nigeria's revenue collection from taxes is one of the lowest in the world, but the cost of collection is high. In another development, the federal government within the week expressed its determination to explore carbon pricing as a strategy to tackle the climate change challenges in the country. The Director General of the National Council on Climate Change, Salisu Dahiru, disclosed this in Abuja. According to him, carbon pricing would address the nation's climate challenges as it curbs greenhouse gas emissions by placing a fee on emissions or offering an incentive for emitting less. He expressed optimism that the workshop would facilitate one of the robust carbon trading systems in Africa and lay the foundation for stakeholders in Nigeria working towards achieving the target. Meanwhile, the federal government during the week withdrew its contempt suit filed against leaders of the Nigeria Labour Congress (NLC) and the Trade Union Congress (TUC) for organizing a nationwide anti-subsidy protest on the 2nd of August 2023. The Federal Ministry of Justice made this known in a letter addressed to the NLC through its counsel Femi Falana-San. Reports say the developments came 5 days after the Federal Ministry of Justice sued the organized labor leaders for allegedly disobeying a court order barring them from leading the nationwide protest. Recall that the National Industry Court had stopped the organized labor from going on strike, but human rights lawyer and counsel to the organized labor, Femi Falana, insisted the union could proceed on the protest. From the Red Chambers now, where the Senate in the course of the week transmitted the names of 45 confirmed ministerial nominees to the presidency. The Senior Special Assistant on National Assembly Matters, Senator Abdullahi Gumel, disclosed this in an interview with journalists at the National Assembly. Explaining why the number of ministerial nominees was increased to 48 as against 42 in the previous administration, Gumel said some of the ministries which were merged will now stand alone, namely the Ministry of Works and Housing. He also thanked the senators for suspending their recess to screen and confirm the nominees. It will be recalled that the Senate on Monday confirmed 45 out of 48 ministerial nominees sent to the upper chamber by President Bola Tinubu. In a related development, the Senate President Godswill Akpabio also explained that the Red Chamber withheld the ministerial confirmation of 3 nominees because the upper legislative arm was still awaiting security clearance. The 3 nominees yet to be confirmed by the Senate are former Kaduna State Governor Nasir El-Rufai, Senator Abubakar Danladi from Taraba State, and former Nexim Bank Managing Director Stella Okotete. Meanwhile, the senator representing Ekiti South Senatorial District, Yemi Adaramondu, said the Red Chamber may re-invite the 3 ministerial nominees yet to be confirmed for rescreening. Still from the Red Chambers, Senator Godswill Akpabio also within the week announced new chairman of some standing committees in the chamber. The Senate President named the chairman of the committees after the confirmation of 45 out of 48 ministerial nominees. The chairman includes President of the 9th Senate Ahmed Lawan, Defense, former Governor of Sokoto State Aminu Tambuwal, Housing, and former Governor of Edo State Adams Oshimele, Interior. Godiya Akwashiki, Air Force, Buhari Abdul Fattah, Aviation, Osita Inyus Nazo, Capital Market, Cyril Fasuyi, Establishment, and Siriake Dixon, Ecology, Climate Change, among others. From the Green Chambers now, the House of Representatives in the course of the week condemned the use of waivers for recruitment into government's ministries, departments and agencies, MDAs. A member of the panel, Amobi Oga, said some agencies deliberately use waiver on advertisement to carry out employment racketeering. Meanwhile, the chairman of the House Ad hoc Committee, Yusuf Gadi, said waiver is a fraud because agencies hide on the waiver to recruit their family members, friends and sell slots. Recall that government agencies were granted waivers by the Federal Character Commission to carry out recruitment without advertising the job vacancies, which is the procedure for recruitment into government services. Moving now to judicial matters within the week, the suspended governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Godwin Emefiele, asked the Federal High Court sitting in Lagos to put an end to further prosecution from the federal government through the Department of State Services, DSS. Emefiele is seeking an order from the court clearing him of all charges brought against him by the DSS in a new application before Justice Nicholas Owebo. His attorneys, led by Joseph Daudu San, claim that the DSS action were embracing disobedience of the court orders granting him bail on July 25, 2023. He also requested an order barring the federal government from receiving any future judicial indulgences until it complies with the bail finding. Away from that, Socio-Economic Rights and Accountability Project SERAP within the week said it will file a lawsuit against Senate President Godswill Akpabio concerning the disbursement of holiday allowances to senators by the clerk of the National Assembly. In a brief statement via its social media handle, SERAP announced that it was suing the Senate President who had made the gaffe announcement on Monday during plenary. Reports say details of the lawsuit, including the petitioners and the specific charges, are yet to be disclosed, noting that the move signifies rising tension and scrutiny over the management of public funds, especially in the light of the present economic climate. On electoral matters, the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, in the course of the week said it will deploy 11,355 bimodal voter accreditation system BVAS machines for voter accreditation in the November 11 governorship elections in Kogi, Bayelsa and Imo State. According to INEC, Bayelsa State has 2,244 polling units, Kogi has 3,508 polling units, and Imo has 4,758 polling units. It will be recalled that the Presidential and National Assembly elections held on the 25th of February 2023 were reportedly marred by the BVAS malfunction. However, the Commission, during reviews of the 2023 polls, insisted that the deployed BVAS recorded a 98% success rate. They again assured that the Commission would perform better in the upcoming off-season governorship elections. In a separate development, the Niger Delta Development Commission, NDDC, within the week warned against the activities of fraudsters forging its website to swindle unsuspecting members of the public. This was contained in a statement issued by the NDDC Director of Corporate Affairs, Dr. Ibitoye Abosade, made available to newsmen in Port Harcourt. The Commission said the fraudsters were parading fake contract offers. The NDDC advised the public to report any suspicious or fraudulent activities to the appropriate authorities for necessary action. It added that the public can access the official website at www.nddc.gov.ng to get accurate and reliable information about the NDDC's vision, mission, objectives, projects, programs, achievements, and challenges. Elsewhere, the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency NDLEA Gombe State Command had between January and July arrested no fewer than 214 suspects for drug-related offences. The NDLEA operatives also seized 93.95 kilograms of cannabis sativa, 257.5 kilograms of psychotropic substance and methamphetamine from the suspects within the period under review. The agency's State Deputy Commander on Narcotics, Bello Mumuni, made the disclosure at a program organized by the Association of Professional Counselors, APROCON, in Nigeria. The NDLEA official decried that drug and substance abuse in the states cut across gender, age and social status, lamenting that many women had been found abusing drugs. In education, the Tertiary Education Trust Fund, TETFund, during the week said that it increased its yearly intervention for information and communications technology from 15 million naira to 100 million naira for universities in order to ensure that institutions meet up with the present digital reality globally. TETFund also stated that over 2 million students and members of the academic community in tertiary institutions across the country would soon have access to online academic resources through the deployment of Blackboard learning platform. Speaking during the flag-off of a 3-day workshop on the implementation of the enhanced Blackboard learning management system in Abuja, the executive secretary of the TETFund, Sonny Echono, noted that the workshop, which attracted directors of information and communication technology from the 253 beneficiary institutions, was part of measures put in place to bridge the digital skills gap in universities, polytechnics and colleges of education in the country. Echono said TETFund was improving its allocation to ICT development in its intervention programs to ensure that the country met digital reality across the globe. Meanwhile, the West African Examination Council WAEC in the course of the week announced the release of the 2023 West African Senior School Certificate Examination for school candidates. Speaking at a press briefing, Head of Nigeria Office Patrick Arega made the announcement. The exam body noted that the WAEC for School Certificate Candidates 2023 spanned 7 weeks from May 8 to June 23, 2023. In another development, the governor of Kano State, Abba Yusuf, within the week approved the appointment of 15 heads of government agencies and 10 special advisors to assist him in the smooth and efficient running of the state. This was contained in a statement by his chief press secretary, Sanusi Dawaking, confirming the appointments in a statement via Twitter. Governor Abba Yusuf noted that the appointments were in line with the administration's resolve to ensure a more efficient government and also in fulfillment of his campaign promise to place credible and loyal people in the affairs of government. According to the Chief Press Secretary, all appointments take effect immediately as the appointees are directed to take over the new responsibilities immediately. Back here on the home front, Akwa Ibom State Governor Pastor Moino in the course of the week moved to put an end to indiscriminate sand mining in the state. The governor announced the prohibition order during an on-the-spot inspection of the Udoiwang by Ura Udofia Street erosion-ravaged area of a Weroford community in Uyo. He said the prohibition is meant to prevent distortion of the natural topography, environmental degradation, as well as loss of valuable properties of citizens to ecological disasters in the state. Interacting with the village head of Ewerof Fort, Etidong Ben Basi John, and members of the community who have grossly been affected by the disaster, Governor Eno regretted the devastating condition and sued for understanding with assurances of government's intervention on the erosion problem as soon as possible. Governor Moino directed the Commissioner for Works and Fire Service to carry out an assessment of the erosion menace and come up with relevant paperwork for the award of contract to reclaim the erosion site. In the meantime, Governor Moino yesterday spoke of late prelate of Methodist Church Nigeria, His Eminence Dr. Sunday Mbang, as an embodiment of Christian virtues, icon of national unity, love, mortality, and tolerance. Governor Eno stated this in funeral oration presented at the obsequies of the late prelate emeritus Dr. Sunday Mbang, held at Methodist Church, Nigeria. His Eminence Mbang, Methodist Cathedral, Eket, Akwa Ibom State. The governor, who led dignitaries across the country to pay last respect to the late prelate, said of the deceased as a man of deep faith who saw the enabling ideals in other faiths, lived the aspiration of Nigeria, and showed himself a great patriot who considered character and principles of those who came in contact with him over the limiting impulses of geography. The governor therefore expressed the deep condolences of the government and people of the state to the family and entire Methodist community, reminiscing the life and times of the departed prelate emeritus with glowing tributes as he bade his soul farewell to the great beyond. Also speaking, the former president of Nigeria, Olusegun Obasanjo, affirming the ordeals of tributes in honor of the late prelate emeritus, recalled his days as president and how close he got to be with Mbang when, as arrowhead of the Methodist Church and chairman of Christian Association of Nigeria, CAN, despite the cleric's frankness in speaking his mind to power. He credited the ecumenical center built during his tenure at the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, to the then Methodist prelate and CAN president, whose purposefulness and consistency compelled him to lead a fundraising to build National Christian Worship Center and the only cathedral with a revolving altar. Government House correspondent Jane Owa reports that those who attended included the immediate past governor of Akwa Ibom State, Udom Emmanuel, and wife Dr. Martha Udom Emmanuel, Labour Party presidential candidate in the 2023 general elections, Peter Obi, former state governor architect Obong Victor Atta, Speaker, State House of Assembly Udemo Otong, former Deputy Governor Moses Ekbo, and Chairman, State Traditional Rulers Council Ntenyen Solomon Etuk, among others. Still to come in the news. SMEs non-performing loans hit 1.32 trillion naira, blame economic challenges. Do stay tuned for details after the break. Thanks for staying tuned, and now to the rest of the news stories. Moving to Africa, Liberian authorities within the week arrested and handed over former Sierra Leonean police chief Mohamed Traoré, accused by his country of planning a coup against President Julius Maada Bio's government. Liberia Information Minister Lejahud Rennie said in a statement that Traoré was arrested at the request of the Sierra Leonean authorities on the allegation of helping plan subversive activities intended to unseat Bio's government. Renee said Liberia had decided to hand the former police chief over to Sierra Leone as requested following preliminary investigations. He added that Sierra Leone had given assurances that his rights would be respected, including the right to a fair and speedy trial. Elsewhere, the military leaders in Niger who seized power in a coup last month formed a new government during the week. Reports say the Prime Minister Ali Mahaman Zien will lead the 21-member government with generals from the new military governing council heading the defense and interior ministries. Meanwhile, Italy's Foreign Ministry, Antonio Tajani, in the course of the week called on West Africa's regional bloc ECOWAS to extend the deadline issued to the leaders of a coup in Niger to reinstate ousted President Mohamed Bazoum. Tajani expressed hope that the ultimatum of ECOWAS, which expired on Sunday earlier in the week, should be extended. Meanwhile, the army said it believes preparations to invade Niger had begun in 2 African countries but gave no evidence. Still in Africa, Ecuadorian President Guillermo Lasso within the week declared a 2-month state of emergency following the assassination of a presidential candidate, Villavicencio Valencia, but vowed to hold general elections scheduled for later this month. Lasso said the armed forces, as of this moment, were mobilized throughout the national territory to guarantee the security of citizens, the tranquility of the country, and the free and democratic elections of August 20. The president also declared 3 days of national mourning to honor the memory of the patriot Villavicencio, age 57, who was shot dead on Wednesday evening as he was leaving a rally in the capital, Quito. Moving to the foreign scene, stories within the week saw fresh evacuations reported in Hawaii island of Maui as flames crept closer to the town of Kampali. The order was implemented just hours after residents of nearby Lahaina were permitted to briefly return to take stock of the damage to the fire-ravaged historic town. So far, 67 people have been confirmed dead in what is said to be the deadliest natural disaster in the United States history, and hundreds more have been reported missing. Meanwhile, Hawaii's Attorney General has announced a comprehensive review into how the authorities responded to the wildfires. A court in the United States within the week sentenced Dairo Antonio Suga, who was once Colombia's most wanted drug lord, to 45 years in prison. Suga, also known as Otoniel, was a notorious cocaine trafficker who was the leader of Colombia's most powerful gang for more than 9 years. He pleaded guilty in January to running a criminal enterprise and drug smuggling. Meanwhile, during his sentencing, Suga said he was sorry for his actions. Still on the foreign scene, Beijing during the week lifted a COVID-era ban on outbound groups tour to dozens of countries, including the United States and Japan. The Chinese Ministry of Culture and Tourism disclosed this in a statement. According to the statement, travel agencies across the country and online travel companies will resume operating outbound group tours to more than 70 countries, including the United States, United Kingdom, Japan and South Korea. Recall that China had in 2020 cut itself off from the world as part of a strict zero-COVID strategy, using visa suspensions and lengthy quarantines to curb the import of virus cases into the country. Meanwhile, in Ukraine, local authorities around the city of Kumpansk in Kharkiv region within the week issued a mandatory evacuation order for the city and surrounding areas due to intense Russian shelling of the area. The order says that the mandatory evacuation has been announced for the residents of the city as well as of Zakleskia, which lies on the east bank of the Oskil River. Reports say Russian forces have intensified attempts to break through Ukrainian front lines east of the Oskil River and have increased the frequency of airstrikes and artillery barrages against settlements on both sides of the river. In business during the week, figures from the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, revealed that banks' non-performing loans hit 1.32 trillion naira as of the end of April 2023. According to the CBN, the figure represented 4.3% of the total credit in the banking sector, which stood at 30.64 trillion naira. for loans in the sector had maintained a steady increase following the loan-to-deposit ratio order of the CBN that mandated banks to increase their loans ratio to the public. Reports say the bank's gross credit was 29.72 trillion naira as of the end of December 2022, with non-performing loans of 1.2 trillion naira or 4.2% of the total credit. Elsewhere, power generation companies in the course of the week said that Nigeria can generate about 427,000 megawatts of electricity from solar energy that comes from the sun. Reports say Nigeria currently generates less than 5,000 megawatts for more than 200 million people. Meanwhile, the Chief Executive Officer Association of Power Generation Companies, Joy Ogaji, while making a presentation titled The Electricity Act 2023 Options for Renewable Energy Penetration and Role of Stakeholders, said more than 420,000 megawatts of power could be generated from solar energy in Nigeria. Explaining the current renewable energy situation in Nigeria, she said there was no renewable energy generation connected at the distribution or transmission level. Meanwhile, the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria, MAN, within the week said that due to a harsh economic environment, the value of manufacturing production decreased from 7.39 trillion naira in 2021 to 6.67 trillion naira in 2022, indicating a decline of 720 billion naira. The chairman, MAN Apapa branch, Frank Onyebu, made the revelation during the annual general meeting of the branch. Onyebu said 2022 was mostly characterized by a harsh operating environment themed by record high inflationary pressure, high interest rates, multiple taxation, high energy cost, forex illiquidity, shortage of raw materials, among others. According to him, supply shortages, surging material prices, and difficulty in hiring qualified staff stalled the growth of the manufacturing sector. Still in business, the president of the Nigerian Association of Liquefied Petroleum Gas Marketers, Olotubonsun Oladapo, during the week said that the price of gas will go up from next week. Oladapo cited rising international prices, high tax rates and prices of vessels, forex scarcity and naira devaluation as some of the reasons for the intended price review. He urged the government to tax profit and not products to reduce the hardship of consumers. Still to come in the news. Carlos Alcaraz and Daniel Medvedev knocked out in Canadian Open quarterfinals in Toronto. Stay tuned for details after this timeout.
Every society is premised on the quality of relationships forged by its inhabitants. The health of these relationships determines how well people, relationships, organizations thrive and how long they stick together. Join Uyai Anyekan on Connect every Wednesday from 6 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. and on Sunday 2:30 to 3 p.m. on channel 421 on Star Times to catch all the conversations, interviews, real stories and how to navigate relationships and family life in the 21st century. Real people, real faces, real stories. Connect live on Spectrum Television.
Business exists only to meet the needs of the people, but there's an extra advantage if your product and services are pitched on a platform that gives you the added advantage over your competitors. For your desired return on investment and so much more, Advertise on Spectrum Television, on StarTimes DTH Channel 421 and on free-to-air with a frequency of 12733. Spectrum Television, broadening your horizon.
One truth not often told is about the transformation that Africa has undergone in recent decades. Africa is shaping its own destiny and should be referred to as the African opportunity. On Spotlight Africa, we paint the African picture the African way, laced with truth, detail, and the color of the African continent. Join Uyai Anyekan every Tuesday and Thursdays at 4:30 p.m. Spotlight Africa, telling the African story.
Nigerian police, which is the only one allowed by grossly abused. Our governors have to share police powers with the president as stipulated by the constitution. We do not have a federal government police force. We have the Nigerian police force, which shall be administered, organized, and supervised by the Nigerian police force.
No, my lord, I want to say something. I want to say something here. Perhaps it might also enlarge the scope of people who should be invited here for examination. My lord, if we cannot find those who literally murdered Abiola, who are those people who could be said to be the beneficiaries of the death of Abiola?
Rogers has linked you with some of the killings he did.
He never did.
He linked you with the attempted murder of Hebrew.
He did not.
My lord, the Matters Council is leading the evidence in our matters.
Is this an adversary proceeding?
It's not, my lord, but we can't be talking about cases which are in court.
Is this an adversary proceeding?
It's not, my lord. These cases are in court, my lord. I'm just reminding you, your lordship.
My lord, sorry, my lord, I think I'll be in cross-examination.
Legally Speaking, a program that deals with legal issues and questions we face as citizens of this amazing country, Nigeria. Legally Speaking. Join us every
Friday from 5 p.m. to 6 p.m.
for Legally Speaking.
Thanks for staying tuned, and now in conclusion of the news this week. Health stories this week showed us the federal government moving to donate 50,000 doses of anthrax vaccine to the Lagos state government to mitigate the spread of the disease to animals and humans in the state, according to a statement by the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development, FAMAD. The federal government made the donation during a courtesy visit to the Lagos Ministry of Agriculture in Ikeja. The Permanent Secretary, Farmer Ernest Umahike, who was represented by the Deputy Director of Veterinary and Pest Control Services, Abdul Karim Dolosharun, said the donation of the vaccines would fast-track vaccination of animals against anthrax. He added that the initiative would also ensure that the butchers sell healthy meat as well as safeguard the livestock subsector. Meanwhile, the Ministry of Health during the week said 171 local government areas in 14 states in the country are at a high risk of further spread of the diphtheria outbreak. The Permanent Secretary of the Ministry, Olufunsho Adebiyi, explained that the 171 local government areas included all the 144 local government areas in Kano, Katsina, Federal Capital Territory FCT, Yobe, Kaduna and Bauchi states. Other states are Gombe, Jigawa, Borno, Nasarawa, Plateau and Zamfara, which have 20 contagious local government areas as well as 7 local government areas in Lagos and Osun states. According to him, available real-time surveillance data showed active diphtheria outbreaks in 25 local government areas in Bauchi, Katsina, Yobe and Kaduna states. He explained that the ministry, in collaboration with the National Primary Healthcare Development Agency, NPHCDA Nigeria, Center for Disease Control and Prevention, NCDC, states and partners were mobilizing all the necessary resources to respond effectively to the outbreak. In a related development, the Nigeria Center for Disease Control and Prevention, NCDC, in the course of the week confirmed a total of 1,534 cases of diphtheria in the country. The NCDC said a total of 4,160 suspected cases have been reported from 27 states across 139 local government areas in the country. The agency disclosed this in its diphtheria situation report from May 2022 to July 2023, released on its website. According to the agency, the confirmed cases were distributed across 56 local government areas in Kano, having 1,207 cases, Yobe 252 cases, Bauchi 41 cases, Katsina 9, Lagos 8, FCT 6 and Kaduna 5 cases, among other states. Still in health, nutrition experts within the week said making the right food choices during pregnancy can help women to birth healthy babies and can prevent the onset of type 2 diabetes and other disorders in the future. The experts noted that eating, especially plant-based food, can prevent malnutrition during pregnancy, which may increase the risk of the children developing type 2 diabetes later on in life. According to them, a malnourished mother has an increased chance of giving birth to a malnourished child, whose chances of giving birth to another malnourished child are high. They stressed the need for women to have distinct nutritional requirements throughout their life, especially before and during pregnancy and while breastfeeding, when the nutritional vulnerability is greater. In sports, the world #1 tennis player Carlos Alcaraz has been defeated by Tommy Paul in the Canadian Open quarter-finals in Toronto. Spaniard Alcaraz, aged 20, made a sluggish start and eventually lost 3-6, 6-4, 3-6 to American 12th seed Paul. In his first defeat since the French Open semi-finals in June, Wimbledon champion Alcaraz made 13 unforced errors and served 6 double faults. Also yesterday, unseeded Alex de Minaur of Australia also beat out Daniil Medvedev in the tennis tournament. Meanwhile, the Premier League is investigating potential financial rule breaches by Chelsea. Chelsea were fined £8.6 million by Union of European Football Associations in July for breaking financial fair play rules as a result of submitting incomplete financial information between 2012 and 2019. Those breaches were reported by the new Stamford Bridge ownership following the club's sale in May. Still in sports, the Nigeria Football Federation (NFF) during the week assured that the Super Falcons will get their prize money from the 2023 FIFA Women's World Cup and other monies they are owed. Reports say the International Federation of Professional Footballers (FIFPro) had released a statement urging the NFF to pay the players what is due to them. The NFF in a statement, however, said it has no issues with the players, adding that it has assured them before the World Cup they would be paid all the monies owed them. Recall that the Super Falcons are owed several bonuses from 2021 and there has been arguments on who will pay their World Cup prize money. On entertainment news, the Barbie film within the week reportedly hit the $1 billion mark just 17 days after it was released. Reports say the movie will finish the weekend with $1.03 billion in ticket sales at the global box office. Meanwhile, an American film, Meg 2: The Trench, is now holding the second spot in Nigerian cinemas in its first week of release. Following its release on Friday, August 4th, the latest figures by the Cinema Exhibitors Association of Nigeria show that Meg 2: The Trench has unseated Mission Impossible. The film tells the story of Jason Statham and action icon Wu Ying as they lead a daring team on an exploratory dive into the depths of the ocean. But the mission takes a chaotic turn when a malevolent mining operation threatens their mission, pushing them into taking high-risk battles to survive. Still on entertainment, in a show of commitment to ensure the continuity of the African Movie Academy Awards, AMA, despite the untimely demise of the founder, Peace Anyamosigwe, the board of the Global Award Organization during the week approved the commencement of preparation for film selection. In line with the board's approval, the AMA Screening College has opened to sort through 389 entries from over 45 countries already submitted for consideration. According to the chairman of the college, Dr. Shoaibu Hussaini, the screening will be in 3 stages before successful entries will be forwarded to the board of the international jury of the award. The board will then determine the films that will make it into the 26 categories of the award. Meanwhile, reports say before her untimely demise in January of 2023, the AMA founder had announced that the AMA Award event will take place in Lagos on October 29. And that's all we have for you at this time on the news this week. A recap of major stories during the week. My name is Uyai, and you can do well to subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us across all social media platforms, all of which you can find at SpectrumTv.ng. This has been the news this week. Until tomorrow, enjoy the rest of your weekend. Bye-bye.